As you know, the program is basically going to go like this. We're going to hand over to Izwi Labantu to read out the statement, and then after that, we'll have a time for questions, and then we'll just see who has questions, and then after that, we'll give the opportunity for the farmers to, I think it would be more valuable for the farmers to respond as Izwi Labantu is representing them, instead of just getting directly from Izwi Labantu. I think we are good with that. All right, over to you.
Good morning, and thank you for making some time to come here. And my name is Norma Mbata, Executive Chairperson of Izwi Labantu. There comes a time when you either surrender or you fight, and we choose to fight. We will not surrender while black farmers continue to be excluded, ignored, and denied opportunity they have been promised. We will not be intimidated into silence, and we will not accept a system that continues to benefit a few at the expense of many. Our fight is not for personal gain. It is a fight for justice, dignity, accountability, and meaningful transformation in the agricultural sector. It is a fight to ensure that black farmers are empowered to own sustainable businesses, access markets, secure title deeds, receive fair support, and participate fully in South Africa's agricultural economy. Enough is enough. We stand with every farmer whose voice has been ignored, every community that has been left behind, and every South African who believes that fairness and accountability must prevail. We choose to fight, not with violence, but with truth, unity, evidence, and unwavering determination until meaningful change is achieved. Our fellow South Africans, let us not allow ourselves to be distracted. This is not about black versus white. It is not about Africans versus anyone else. This is about our land, our natural resources, our food security, and the future of South Africa's agricultural sector. In our view, an effective agricultural sector depends on three critical government departments working together. Department of Land Reform and Rural Development, Department of Agriculture, and Department of Trade, Industry, and Competition. What stands out in the recent cabinet reshuffle is not what many are being distracted by. It is not simple about Deputy Minister Dina or Deputy Minister Yusuf. The real concern is what is happening within the Department of Agriculture and Department of Trade, Industry, and Competition. These are the departments that determine whether disadvantaged farmers are genuinely empowered, whether meaningful transformation is implemented, or whether exclusion and suppression continue under a different disguise. Agriculture is the sector that can feed the nation, and it has done so before. Our rural communities have the land, our urban areas have balconies, etc., and willingness to produce. Yet there is no meaningful appetite from our government to provide the support they need. Had programs like One Home, One Garden, One Household, One Hectare not been undermined by political interference and officials who place personal interest above the public good, far fewer South Africans, if any, would be going hungry today. Through agriculture, families can produce their own meat, vegetables, staple foods, reducing the burden of buying basic groceries. Social grants could then be used for essentials and other household needs instead of trying to cover the entire food basket. The question we should all be asking is this: if black emerging farmers are still not participating meaningfully in the trade today, then under this new cabinet, who will be trading tomorrow? Without genuine land reform that places productive land in the hands of Black South Africans, who are the majority citizens of our nation, and supports them to succeed, transformation remains an empty promise. Too often, title deeds are celebrated as the final achievement, only for the land to be leased back to the same established interest. Capture a few beneficiaries, divide the new landowners, and the cycle continues while meaningful economic participation remains out of reach. South Africa deserves an agricultural sector that produces food, creates jobs, builds rural economies, and ensures that those who receive land also receive the support, finance, infrastructure, markets, and opportunities necessary to make the land productive. Land reform without economic empowerment is not a transformation, it is a simple change on paper. Having said that, we wish to inform the nation that Izwi Labantu Forum has given the President Cyril Ramaphosa 14 days, starting from 9 July 2026, with the deadline of 22 July 2026 to respond and act decisively. The 14-day ultimatum is no longer only about the 14 demands we have submitted. Those demands remain fully in force, and we continue to expect decisive action from the Deputy President, Paul Mashatile. We call on the President to instruct his deputy to implement the 14 demands that were formally handed over through the Deputy Minister, Nongcebo Mhlawuli, on 29 January 2026. To date, Deputy Minister Mhlawuli has publicly indicated that the challenges facing Black emerging farmers and rural communities are not among the government's priority concerns. This position is deeply concerning and unacceptable to the millions of Black emerging farmers and rural communities who continue to face unfair challenges, exclusion, underdevelopment, and a lack of meaningful support. We further call on the President to establish an independent commission of inquiry, similar to the Madlanga Commission, to investigate corruption, maladministration, state capture, and long-standing challenges within the agricultural sector. The Commission must also examine how these failures have affected Black emerging farmers and rural communities who continue to bear the greatest burden of inequality and exclusion. South Africans deserve full transparency and accountability for every rand of public money, with taxpayers' funds managed responsibly, lawfully, and in the best interest of the people. Black emerging farmers and rural communities deserve an agricultural sector that serves the interests, promotes equitable development, and delivers the support, dignity, and opportunities that they long been promised. Izwi Labantu Forum believes in the government systems and has followed them as hard as possible, but with no success. Leaders in government have no genuine intentions of listening to the cries of the people. They pursue whatever serves their own agenda and only react when forced to do so. This government is proving to be worse than that of apartheid. The difference is that it is no longer simple about black and white, but about all those who are politically connected across all races and ethnicities. White farmers might also be suffering, but black emerging farmers are suffering even more severely because they remain disadvantaged and discriminated against, while those in power use their names and pretend to be fighting for their transformation. The agricultural sector, as currently managed, has no real chance of transforming the lives of black emerging farmers. Everyone is compromised. Government officials across departments, politicians, politically connected individuals, and councillors, they don't advocate for the communities they represent, but for themselves and their relatives. Government officials across departments own farms, lease farms amongst themselves and secure funding from banks and other state entities. We will name names after the 14-day period. The trading in the agricultural sector is positive, but not for black emerging farmers, only for whites and elite farmers. Black farmers are suffering. Rural communities are struggling. Do not be misled by the politically organized events and show-off agricultural functions. These initiatives are too often used as a vehicle to channel public funds to service providers linked to those in position of power, while also serving as a means to avoid returning unspent funds to the national treasury. The result is an exercise that diverts millions of taxpayers' rents into the pocket of those who profit from corrupt activities, rather than delivering meaningful support to the people it is intended to serve. Where donations are received, some donors are receiving their returns through other indirect means. Yet the presidency continues to refuse to genuinely attend to the cries of black emerging farmers because the truth hits too close to home. Once any official is seen compromised, it gets transferred to the other departments, as we have seen from the KZN Department of Agriculture, where its head of department has been moved to the Department of Transport, and they simply join the so-called Black Farmers Associations and the likes. Black farmers have no association that is at least recognized by government. Government too often appears to recognize and reward those who defend or applaud their ongoing failures, while black farmers continue to be sidelined. Instead of prioritizing meaningful transformation and accountability, public resources risk benefiting well-connected network at the expense of very people they are meant to empower. This creates the perception of an entrenched system in which internal and external interests work together to protect privilege rather than advance the interests of black farmers and rural communities. We will explain more to the nation through the proper channels that we are demanding from the president, or after the said 14 days has lapsed. Our government thrives in chaos. Title deeds are given to CPAs, but government know that the communities are fighting amongst themselves. Whites, elites, politicians, and government officials are beneficiaries of that chaos, as they are lucrative resources under that land. When communities or family members see a few thousands or a few millions given to them, they sell or lease the very same land to the highest bidder. And those who dare fight against that system live in threats if they happen to survive killing attempts. These days, there is a very thin line between politicians and traditional leaders. It's a tit-for-tat business at the expense of our rural communities and the black emerging farmers. Certain traditional leaders are feared and in charge of rural development in their respective communities. Nothing gets developed unless they are in it. We get stories where Izwi Labantu Forum cannot assist as it is more complicated to get involved in the traditional council matters, but government can, but will not act as the traditional leaders hold the power of the votes they need and same resources, so they avoid what may compromise their interest and look the other way. Retirement security for politicians and officials is secured through the agricultural sector. Departments like minerals, water and sanitations are frustrating black farmers and rural communities with whatever licenses they need, making it impossible for them to operate productively. It is deeply concerning that our police are increasingly perceived as being associated with or failing to confront the ongoing corruption across all departments that rather than consistently preventing, investigating, and enforcing the laws. Such perception keep eroding public trust and weaken confidence in the rule of law. Some members of SEPS are reportedly involved in stock theft, other corrupt activities in the agricultural sector. Credible police are unable to operate as those corrupt to protect the affairs of those in power. Church offices across the country give us information in private as they fear for their lives and fear their own seniors when they talk to us. Farmers have reported that the police often care less about criminal targeting them, with some officers allegedly owning livestock and guarding criminals instead of protecting law-abiding citizens. The complicity leaves black farmers vulnerable to theft, violence, and even murder, while perpetrators enjoy protection. Many white commercial farmers have also expressed dissatisfaction with government policies and conditions affecting the agricultural sector. However, they generally have well-established representative organizations. Their concerns often receive greater attention, and they have stronger institutional channel through which to advocate for the interest, and the government listens to them. On the other hand, black emerging farmers and rural communities continue to struggle for meaningful representation, and their concerns are too often overlooked despite facing significant barriers to growth and participation in the agricultural sector. This imbalance must be addressed if South Africa is serious about achieving equitable agricultural transformation. We have decided to address this nation because Izwi Labantu is overwhelmed by the increasing number and, in some instances, life-threatening challenges confronting the agricultural sector. At the same time, the presidency has failed and is refusing to respond meaningfully to the concerns repeatedly raised by black emerging farmers and rural communities. Instead of fostering unity and meaningful engagement, its actions have, as per our experience, deepened divisions among black farmers. We stand firmly by the case that we have opened against SAFTA and others. It represents only the tip of the iceberg. Behind it lies a far broader pattern of grievances that demands urgent investigation, transparency, and accountability. The pain is real. The suffering is unbearable. The sense of betrayal runs deep. The next step rests with our President, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa. Should there continue to be no meaningful response, on Thursday, 23 July 2026, we'll organize another national media briefing where farmers from all 9 provinces will share their lived experiences, present evidence where applicable, where is available, and publicly identify the politicians, present and former government officials, institutions, policies, and practices farmers believe have contributed to the exclusion and hardships. It is for the President to decide whether these matters are addressed through decisive action by the state or whether they are brought further into the public domain through the continued efforts of Izwi Labantu Forum. Enough is enough. The nation deserves to hear these voices and understand the challenges facing black emerging farmers and rural communities. I thank you.